Welcome to my first attempt at a video for the Canonomics podcast. If this works okay, I plan to add more short videos of about 5 minutes covering other mini topics on the Leave Insert course and maybe answer specific questions listeners have. For the first video, I'm going to look at the shape of the demand curve in oligopoly, price rigidity, and interdependence. I use this sheet when teaching the Kinked Demand Curve. Not a lot of use for you online, but it still helps explain the demand curve in oligopoly. A firm in oligopoly has two demand curves. The one on the left is relatively elastic, meaning that a proportional change in quantity demanded is greater than a corresponding proportional change in price. The one on the right is relatively inelastic, meaning a proportional change in quantity demanded is less than the corresponding proportional change in price. If you had this sheet in front of you and you folded it according to the instructions, you would get a new demand curve that looks like this. The left-hand side of the demand curve, or average revenue curve, A to B, is relatively elastic. The right-hand side of the demand or average revenue curve, from B to AR, is relatively inelastic. To explain the shape of the demand curve in oligopoly, you must make reference to the elastic price elasticity of demand at prices above P1, and the inelastic PED at prices below P1. To explain price rigidity, we need to think back to our knowledge of elasticity and what happens to total revenue when prices change. Let's use the banking sector as an example of an oligopolistic market. We have three main banks in Ireland: AIB, Bank of Ireland, and Permanent PTSB. What would happen if AIB thought about increasing its charges to current account customers from P1 to P2? A 10% increase in price, let's say. The demand curve facing AIB is elastic above P1, so price elasticity of demand would be greater than 1 in absolute terms. So let's say it's 2 or minus 2 as it's a normal good and the demand curve slopes down. A 10% increase in price will lead to a 10% multiplied by the PED, or minus 2. So 10 multiplied by minus 2 gives us the percentage change in quantity demanded, minus 20% decrease in quantity demanded. Demand falls from Q1 to Q2. The gain in revenue due to selling or due to charging more is here, so this rectangle. But there's a much bigger loss as customers move to their rivals and AIB loses market share. Clearly, the loss in total revenue is greater than the gain in total revenue, so therefore it's not in AIB's interest to increase price, particularly when considering interdependence. That is, what does it think its competitors will do if it increases its price? They will leave their price at P1, gain market share from AIB, and so increase their total revenue. Now, what would happen if AIB thought about decreasing its price from P1 to P2? Let's say that's a 10% decrease in price. As the demand curve it's facing now from B to AR is inelastic, price elasticity would be less than 1. Let's say minus 0.5. A 10% decrease in price multiplied by the price elasticity of demand, so minus 10, because it's a decrease, multiplied by minus 0.5 gives us plus 5%. So it will lead to a 5% increase in quantity demanded. Demand increases from Q1 to Q2. The increase in revenue due to gaining that extra market share is this rectangle here. The loss of revenue, because it's now charging a lower price, is this rectangle here. Clearly, the loss in total revenue is larger than the gain in total revenue. So again, it's not in AIB's interest to decrease price, particularly when considering interdependence, what it thinks its competitors will do if it lowers its price. They would probably follow suit so not to lose market share. All the banks would lower their price to maintain their market share, and all of them would end up having lower total revenue. So to sum up, if a firm in oligopoly increases or decreases its price, it will result in lower total revenue, hence why prices are said to be rigid. If you found this useful, please let me know, and if you'd like me to tackle any other mini topics, please leave me a comment. Thank you, until next time.